All right, I'm gonna get going because we obviously don't only have an hour. But yeah, welcome to Tribe Talk Live, episode 10. Now this one is a little different because it's me. As said before, it's been amazing interviewing and talking to people that I highly respect. And learning, growing, building from them, and I hope you have too. But I've had a few people, ask, who's Steph, and why don't you dedicate an episode to yourself? So this is it. Not too worried about how many people are going to be in the live because obviously it will be shared again. But yeah, still due to upload full talks on YouTube, so watch out for that. But yeah, I guess I'll get straight into it. What I'll do is ask myself the general questions I've been asking everyone on the show, and then I'll open questions up. Already have a list of Q&As, and I'll hopefully get a few people in the talk as well to answer those questions live and direct. So let's dive into it. So who is Stefan, and where did it all start for you? First and foremost, I'm an athlete. I'm a non-competitive athlete right now as I'm getting back into shape. I play rugby union, mainly rugby sevens. And I'm a sprinter also. Hence I'm not competing, still getting back into shape. And also I'm a personal trainer that specializes in sports performance, which has been an interesting journey. Where did it all start for me then? I think it all started, as most people growing up. I played in a array. There probably wasn't a sport I didn't play growing up, and also there probably wasn't a sport that I wasn't good at, if that makes sense. I don't know what it is about it. I guess growing up I was athletic, so anything physical, anything sport driven, that would be for me. That's where I excelled. As said before, I played an array of sports, from cricket to football, rugby, anything you can think of, pretty much. I would be there doing. But there was a stage in my life, probably more teenage years, where I don't know who wouldn't, but I fell in love with football. I don't know, as every boy growing up, wants to be a football player. So yeah, I had dreams of pursuing football. And with every sport, I had potential to do great things. But unfortunately, the school, the college that I attended, it wasn't the best environment. Pretty toxic, to be honest. Anything that you wanted to do, anything that you wanted to excel at, it would almost be squashed. So yeah, as time went on, I still tried to pursue it. But it wasn't the lack of potential that made me fall out of love with it or stop. It was just the environment I was in. Probably 16, 17, 18 years old. A very influential age. I don't think you ever grow out of being influenced by something. So it's the environment that you're in, and the environment that you create for yourself is very, very, very important. Unfortunately, I wasn't around the right people And slowly but surely, I fell out of love with football. But yeah, while I was playing football, I was still competing in different sports. I didn't actually start sprinting until until I left college, probably like 18, 19 years old, which is considered late. And also rugby, yeah, I did really well in college in rugby. So rugby was a kind of a late bloomer as well, if you were. I wasn't, the environment that I grew up in. Rugby, sports like rugby, cricket, hockey, and all of those sports, are not, are not really considered. They're not popular in the environment I was growing up in. If you to break it down, basically like a lower class type of background. People don't play those sports. It's all about football. So yeah, when I attended the college, it was rugby. It was a rugby based college. So yeah, I had played a year prior to going to college. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just fast and strong. Put a ball in your hands and run. Where was I? Too busy waving at people. But yeah, as soon as I attended the college, they asked basically, how much have you played? And I said, not that much, but I enjoy rugby, so I'm here to do what I do best. And I started off in the lowest team, and by the time I finished college, I played for the top team. So I built my way up, if anything, the college, helped me grow in the sports that they prioritized. So yeah, I left college, stupidly stopped playing rugby, but I did meet my first sprint coach. So some of you may know, a coach called Matthew Thomas. I was actually at a track, training to get faster for rugby, and he saw me run. I ran past him while he was training some people, and he basically said, "Oh, how's training going and everything?" And I'm there at the track pretty much on my own, no idea what I'm really doing, but the track is where you go to get fast, So I said training's alright, I'm training for rugby is what it is. This is probably my last year of college when I met Matt, and then I started training with him when I left. And he's like, "Oh, do you have a coach?" And I said, "No, like I'm practicing for rugby." And the first reaction, like I'm laughing now, that was his first reaction. He just started laughing. He was just like, "You don't have a coach? Why?" I said, "I'm not a sprinter. I'm a rugby player." And then from there, he spoke to my parents or my mum, and that's where I started to grow my love for sprinting. He was like, "I'll train you full time, pretty much. I believe you have potential, and I want to train you." So I joined his group, and from there, I trained with him for a significant amount of time. He was almost like, he became a massive part of my life because I left college and I took pretty much a gap year, and my parents said, if you're gonna take a gap year, you need to work. So started working, started training full time, pretty much, and because I was spending so much time training and everything, Matt almost became like another father figure in my life because I was spending so much time training. So for whatever reason, I trained with him for 3 years. Didn't see progress, surprisingly. But whether that's whose fault is that, I'm not gonna get into it, because ultimately, it's down to the athlete. But what I did learn from that was, it was why I didn't progress was the mental side of sport wasn't addressed. It was, I got in the shape of my life, but, mentally, when I got to races, couldn't perform for whatever reason. So yeah, from there, after a few years, I decided, I'm not seeing progress. Let me move on. And one of my best friends used to train with Linford Christie's coach. So a guy called Ron Rodden. He said, you know what, I trained with him for a while. You should go down there and see how it goes. So from there, I trained with Ron. I think Ron, with all due respect, I think he has a lot of he's quite old now. I think he doesn't speak much when you're on the track. I think he's had several operations and been ill quite a few times. So I think in terms of his presence is great, but if you're gonna coach someone, there needs to be another level there. So I was with him for about a year. Met some great people who some of my best friends now. But again, got in great shape, but it wasn't for me. It seems to be a recurring theme going through life. And then my last coach, a few years ago now, I moved quite a bit through the time I was growing up as well. And this is when I lived in Woodford. Well, not Woodford, Hyams Park, which is more East London. Again, I was at a track, Woodford Green track, training myself because I didn't really have a coach at that time. And again, the same thing happened. A coach called Gladys Bird, who's an Olympian herself actually, saw me training. Again, same kind of theme. How's training going? Do you have a coach? And at that time, I was actually still with Ron, and she wanted me to join her group, and I kept obviously holding off because I'm with someone else. And when I made that decision to move on, I decided to go with her. Again, recurring theme, wasn't right for me. So ended up moving on again. And all throughout this time, I just saw that Ollie has joined. This is relevant to you. All throughout this time, I was, dedicating all my time to sprinting. One day, I can't remember what age or whatever, I came across rugby sevens on the TV. Bear in mind, I hadn't played rugby for a while, since leaving college. But I was up late one night, and I just was on YouTube or something, and this sport called rugby sevens popped up, and obviously a little bit different to rugby union. There's 15 players on each side on a full pitch, and I saw rugby sevens, and there was only 7 people each side, and they were darting all over the place, sprinting, running. It just it hit a nerve, and it sparked. I was like, I'm good at rugby, I'm fast, I can play rugby at a good level. Why not try this? So without getting into too much detail, I had the audacity to, contact the England rugby sevens coach at the time. I don't know where I got his details from, but I basically sent him an email saying, right, I'm good at rugby, I'm fast, this is the times I can run, this is what I can do, this is that. And he replied saying, I can't just let you into the team, so go to this place, go to this team, see how you do, and then they'll be in touch with me. So, and this team was called Apache, who is, you know, a very established side in the rugby 7 circuit. And stupidly, you know, I was in good shape. I was fast, but I hadn't played rugby in 2 or 3 years. So, you know, here's me thinking, you know, I can actually do something big in the sport, which is, you know, potentially could. But I rock up to this, you know, fully established rugby 7s team who tour the world, you know. And yeah, play for them in a tournament, you know, fumbling the ball because I hadn't touched the ball in years. Just did not put on a good performance at all. Very disappointing. But still, like, you know, it's something I wanted to do. I know the potential was there. I've played rugby at a good level, you know, even at an international level as well. When I, you know, this is going off a bit, but I lived in Norway for a bit, and don't ask me how, but I played for their under 17 national team against Denmark, I think. So like throughout the years, obviously my confidence is there, and so I can play rugby. You know, I'm fast. Put 2 and 2 together. You know, rugby 7s is the way forward for me. But yeah, after the disappointing performance, yeah, the coach basically said, you know what, listen, I can see you have potential, and for whatever reason you didn't perform, but there's this up and coming team, aka Cobras Rugby, you know, developing. They need players. I'll direct you there. And then obviously we were talking about this before, Ollie. He was basically saying, you know, once you get in your groove, once you start performing at a good level, then come back and talk to me or whatever else. So yeah, I started playing for Cobras Rugby. Not as consistently as I would have liked to, because I was basically pursuing 2 sports. I was sprinting competitively, and I was trying, you know, I was dabbling in rugby 7s. So yeah, probably spreading my efforts like too far, probably, even though the 2 sports do correlate in some way. But yeah, moving on. A few years back, I think, so I'm 28 now. I think when I was 24, 25, you know, this is the point where I was, you know, rugby 7, sprinting, all in the heat of it. I was in the gym one day, and I was deadlifting. Now a lot of people watching this will probably know the danger if you don't do this properly. Yeah. Anyway, deadlifting some heavy weight. Technically, I was doing it correctly, but I feel that I might have increased the weight too much too soon. And it was the last set, the last rep. I felt just not a tear, but just a massive pull down my, I can't remember where, but my lower back basically. Yeah, to the point where, you know, I dropped the weight and I couldn't move. Dropped the weight, bent over, couldn't move. And then, you know, it gradually just got worse and worse to the point where I needed help tying my shoes. It was terrible. So yeah, I went to the doctors. They basically didn't even look at me, didn't touch me, and basically said, oh yeah, you've pulled your lower back, take this medication and you'll be all right. Now, I'm not a big believer in medication at all. So I basically did research in a pulled lower back, and yeah, kind of took some time off. Tried to get back into it again once I felt good, and it happened again, and it happened again and again, and it just wouldn't heal. So from then on, decided to go. Decided to take a little break from all of my sporting efforts and just dedicate all my time into business. And from there, everything has spiraled up until this point. I believe I'm in a great position now, mentally and physically, and business wise. There's big things to come. Throughout that whole time, I was working. I was in and out of gyms, fitness instructor, personal training athletes, training the general public, gaining all this knowledge, and basically, getting people results, getting people and athletes results, which is the main thing, So yeah, this has kind of led me to this point, and all of my endeavors and everything that I've gone through up until this point has led me to this point. I've learned a lot, I've been through a lot, and I believe Tribe now is the not the pinnacle, but the outcome of my life right now. There's many layers to Tribe training and performance, as you will see in the near future. It's not just a service where I train athletes or anything else, but I'll get into that. We'll see what people are gonna ask, but we'll get into that. The main focus for Tribe right now is focusing on the training and performance aspects of the business before I expand any more. And these talks are just kind of to bring more value to people. The whole idea behind Tribe was to bring everyone I know that I've got to know through my journey, bring them all together and create something great. But yeah, that was the first question. I don't know how long this is gonna take, but let's move on. My thoughts and opinions on current events. In a nutshell, without going too far, I think massive events and everything happening right now. In terms of Corona, very upsetting that a lot of people are being affected by it. But I believe that this year in general is an eye opener, and if anything positive is to come from it, I believe that a lot of things are getting exposed. A lot of things are causing people to look past their daily lives, and hopefully create a positive outcome for themselves and everyone around them. Again, it is upsetting what is happening right now, but I believe the people that are running the world, running the country, and everything else. There will be a time, whether you are with them or not, there will be a time where those people will be replaced. And I believe that our generation and the generations to come are learning through everything that's going on, and can be a positive leadership moving forward. When those people move on or pass away, I hope that the people that replace them learn from everything that's going on right now, and can make positive change moving forward. I don't want to go too deep into it because there's many layers to it, and this is not what the whole conversation is about. But yeah, take the positives from every negative experience, I would say. Know the truth, and base your decisions on that. Moving on, how are you overcoming the situations and the current events happening now? Life is life is balance. Life is adaptation. If you don't adapt, you die. Simple as. Don't need to be so crude, but that's what life is about. Life is survival. Good days, bad days. It's not the strongest or the most intelligent. It's the one that can adapt the most. And I feel, how have I adapted? How am I overcoming? Through business, I basically transferred all of the people that I do train, all of the athletes and everything else, over to online. And it's been amazing to see, we had 3 months where we were training solely online. Well, I gave people sessions to do on their own. So we would be socially distancing, and I trained some people online. And it's amazing to see that when I came back to training all of the athletes and people, that nothing really had changed, which was surprising in terms of fitness and maybe like some technical things. But yeah, it was surprising to me. I basically transferred everything to online. And in my personal life, it was just an opportunity to dedicate more time to myself mentally and physically to get back in good shape. That is a continuous process. For whatever reason, still managing my injury. I believe I'm 90% right now, which I'm happy about. But yeah, my advice would be to adapt, find ways in which you can still do what you need to do. Another way, find a way. There is always a way to get stuff done. And finally, my plans for the future. So I live in Chelmsford right now, which is in Essex, not too far from London. But yeah, excitingly, I'll be actually moving back to London in October, which I believe will be very beneficial for Tribe. In the long run, it means I can dedicate more time to training individuals, training athletes. I've been a bit limited out here, even though it's amazing. It's been amazing living somewhere where the park is literally just on my doorstep. If you need to escape life in general, or be at one with yourself, you can just go downstairs and get lost in the wilderness pretty much. But at the same time, the other side, you can get stuff done. You can work, and I've been trying very hard to find a balance between work and time for myself. I have a great routine right now. I only go down to London twice a week at the moment. But yeah, things are going really well in terms of business and Tribe in general. There's many things I'm looking to do with Tribe, but right now the focus is on the training and performance side of things. So when I do move back, it means I can dedicate more time to the track team. I can dedicate more time to my clients, and also start things that I haven't been able to start based on location. I'll be starting to host training camps for the general public again, and also I'll be looking to start performance camps for the athletes, and athletes in team sports, and start to host camps based on like fitness, speed, strength, all the background work for an array of different sports, which I'm very excited about. The plans are already in place for it. So once I move back, hopefully I can just get rolling straight away. But yeah, I don't know how long that took. Hopefully not too long. Let me be around half an hour. Not too bad. I tried to cover as much as possible without, going over time. But it is the Q&A round. I had ridiculous amount of questions. So I picked the ones that I thought that would be most beneficial, and I'll try and get through them as quick as possible. So yeah, if you do have any questions, please request to come live, and so we can have a face-to-face talk. Other than that, I have a few questions written down already that I'll get through. But yeah, please, come live. If you have a question, come live and we'll have a little talk. Yeah. Let me get someone in to start off with. Hold on. Let's get someone in. Oh, Theory, how are you doing? So for those that do not know, Theory is one of my athletes. He's part of one of the members of the track team. So yeah, it was his birthday on Friday.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday. But yeah, let's get into it. What have you got to ask me?
As you said, there are tons of questions, for you. But
let's say this. Give me 3 of the best ones.
Okay, sure.
Instead of going through everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Stefan, the first question is sprinting for any age? Does age matter? And if then, is it possible to do it mentally and physically?
So in terms of sprinting, do you mean competitively or just in general?
I would say in general to start with, yeah.
In general, of course, a lot of people believe that as humans, we're built to just run long distances, and whether or not that is true, there is the capacity to run fast, obviously. Whether it's just you want to improve your fitness, lose weight, or whatever you want to do, huge benefits, huge benefits, and it cuts the training time pretty much in half or in quarter sometimes, based on how intense your workout is. Anyone that I've trained or anyone that has sprinted before will understand that, they feel great after they finish a sprint session, whether it be for performance or their health in general. You mentioned what age as well? Is it?
Yeah, does it matter?
I believe that you should train from when you're born until when that day comes, until when you pass away. It's a part of life. Obviously, the world is a little bit different now to our ancestors, but it's an integral piece of life in general. On the competitive side, just look at the facts. There's many competitive sprinters that run at the highest level in their 40s, still running sub 10-second races. Kim Collins, Justin Gatlin, Linford Christie as well. I think back in the day, there's an array of athletes. I think everyone is different. Everyone develops at a different rate. And if you're naturally fast, I don't personally, for me, I don't think speed goes. I think fitness goes, if you're sedentary. But if you're naturally fast, you're naturally fast. If you're naturally good at running longer distances, it will be easier for you to come back than someone that isn't. If some people are naturally more stronger, some people are naturally faster, everyone's different.
Sure.
But there was the third part to that question as well. What was it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, is it all possibly? I mean, I think that you've answered that. I mean, whether it's all possible mentally and physically, So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you're a living example of it too. I mean, how old are you now, Theory?
42 now.
42. Still sprinting. Still sprinting
Right.
with a great track team. That run 10, 11 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, that is all possible because of you, Stefan. I mean, to be honest, because
Thank you.
I never knew.
I mean,
what needs to be done and all that right before. Yeah.
I mean, it works both ways. I'm only here to guide you. At the end of the day, you're the one that's doing the work. And if I can help you reach your full potential, then I've done my job. But at the end of the day, it's all you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So shall we go to the second question?
Yep.
Yeah. So the second one is, when do you know that you are going to get an injury, and when is the best time you think you should stop, and how do you know that it's the injury time? It's going down that track.
Again, you can probably do a whole talk on this question alone, but I'll try and break it down based on what I do. If someone tells, if one of my athletes tells me, oh, I'm feeling pain here, I kind of judge the injury based on how much it hurts. Just like, for example, the other day with another track team member, she was complaining that during the runs her ankle was hurting. And I asked her how much does it hurt? Is it unbearable to run? She said, no, I can still run. It's just, it hurts a little bit. I said, okay, continue. And if it gets any worse, then let me know, or stop. Don't run through it. She ended up completing the session. But towards the end, she was, it kind of got gradually worse. So from that perspective, I told her to take her spikes off, put her trainers on, so there's more cushioning. And she was able to complete the session. But at the same time, you don't ignore those signs that your body is telling you. So it's not a case where if it doesn't hurt to a point where it's excruciating, it's fine. Just continue training. It's fine to finish the session, but after that, you need to deal with it. Whether it is going to see a physio, doing research by yourself, sorting the problem out yourself if you have the means to. But yeah, those types of things, your body's telling you, your body's communicating with you, and you can't just ignore those types of things, regardless of how little it is.
Sure.
Because it could spiral into something a lot bigger, So yeah.
Yeah, sure. The last question would be, I've asked you roughly around this. Before as well, I think. And when we play football socially and stuff like that,
yeah,
we sort of enjoy it, and we don't, feel the effort much. But when we put that into training, we feel the effort, and we feel a bit it's harder and stuff. And how do you transform that into training as well? Like, there's this kind of a social, aspect of it.
So you're basically talking about like kind of what we spoke about the other day in terms of like disguised fitness. That's what you're talking about. So when you're playing a game of football with all your friends or whatever, it doesn't feel like you're working out because you're just having fun.
Yeah.
It is hard to compare a sport, team sport, and an individual sport, because you already know how hard track and field is in general anyway. But if you were going to try and disguise the hard work or whatever else. I believe is very important to have a great team around you. You know, your coach, your training partners, and everything is very important to. Even though it's an individual sport, you're all training together. You know, there has to be an element of fun. There has to be that social element as well there. Unless there's aspects that I need to train, unless there's aspects I need to work on with you alone, you know, creating a positive, fun environment and team, I believe is the way forward in terms of an individual sport. But yeah, it is hard to, you know, it's not a team sport. It's not track and field is can get dark. You know, there's a dark side to track and field. You know, there's it's very performance based. You know, so yeah, your environment, your team, the team that you have around you, you know, will take some of the edge off. You know, there has to be a balance as well. You know, a team that can have fun, joke around, but you know, when it's time to work, we get it done.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, thank you for that. I'll try and get a few more people. Unless people are shy, don't be shy. Come on, Theory's in here. You know, on his weekend off, on his rest day, talking to me.
It's been a pleasure.
So yeah, if anyone has any other questions, I'm just gonna request everyone on the live right now. I'm just gonna request you, and whoever picks up. If not, then I have some questions written down anyway. So, but yeah, thank you, Theory.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care, bro.
Take care, bro.
Okay. Who's next? Who is next? I'm just gonna invite. Hold on. I'm gonna invite you. Let's see if he picks up. Currently waiting, but we have a question in the comments from. Okay, hold on.
You saying, bro?
So we have Jake. Okay, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. What about you?
I'm good. Just talking through my life story, you know.
Yeah, man, I heard it. It actually relates to me a lot. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
So yeah, I did write some of your questions down, but if you can, give me 3 of the best ones that you got for me.
I can't even remember the ones I gave on WhatsApp, but I think one of them was, because there was quite a few.
Yeah.
I think one of them was, what would be your tips for like a younger athlete like me, for example?
Yeah.
Like, if you were to give like, say, 3 key words of advice to like reaching to the stage where I want to be at in athletics, what would be your advice?
What would be my 3 tips for you for a younger athlete?
Yeah.
In any sport or track and field specifically?
I mean, I would say track and field for now.
Okay.
But if you want to add in 3 for in
so
general,
my 3 tips on how to reach the top level in sprinting, or in track and field in general, for a younger athlete. I think a big one is learn to be self-reliant, especially in a sport that's of course, an individual sport. You know, and as a coach, you know, I can't run the race, or I can't play the sport for you.
Yeah, of course.
You know, there has to be, do what your coach advises, but there has to be a certain element of initiative in there. You know, because ultimately you're the one that's playing. Whether it be, you know, being a student of your sport, whether it be doing sessions, just like I'm doing with the track team now. You know, I get them to do one session by themselves. So it kind of breeds that kind of, you know, I don't need to be there. As long as I know the work is getting done, and it allows you to find your rhythm within yourself without someone being there. Yeah, so one would be as self-reliant as possible, even in a team sport, to be honest. What else for a younger athlete? Seek out, you know, seek out, you know, the top information, the top coaches. Seek out some, basically the level that you want to hit. You want to hit the top. So surround yourself with people that, you know, are on the same level as you, and surround yourself with people that, you know, have been there, done that, know what they're talking about, and are just on that another level, you know, especially if you want to be in that top level, just like what happened with me in terms of rugby sevens and everything else. You know, I jumped right in the deep end, whether I was ready for it or not. I, you know, took that risk. And you know, whether I performed or not, you know, I learned a lot from it. So yeah, be as self-reliant as possible. Seek out great coaching, great training. You know, people that have been there themselves, and work. Do be a student of the sport, but also do the homework on yourself mentally. I think a lot of people, I've asked a lot of people, you know, is it mental or physical? What percentage would you say? And whether this is controversial or not, I believe it's 100% mental.
100%.
100% mental. You know, like if you play sport, being in shape is a given. You know, you can't play sport. You can't play sport if you're not in shape. You know, that's a given. The training happens regardless, you know. But your mind controls your body. If you didn't have a brain, there would just be a lifeless body there. So an example, you know, you can be in the best shape of your life, but if your mind isn't where it needs to be, I always say this, you won't perform. And whether that, you know, that's through personal experience.
I feel like as well though, like the body can sometimes prevent you, even though your mind is like, I want to do this and do that, but your body, let's say, it starts giving you signs, you start getting injured, or you start, you know, like there's not much you can really do about it. So I feel like there's probably 80% mindset and 20% physical, because it's at the end of the day, it's your body.
You do have a point. But yeah, that's your opinion, I guess. I believe it's 100% mental. Yeah, if you want to expand on your point, you can.
I mean, I don't think there's much to say on it, to be honest. Like, I feel like, yeah, it makes sense, 100% mindset, because at the end of the day, it is your mind. It's mind over matter. But I'm just saying the reason for the 8% mindset and 20% your body, because it is your body carrying out what your mind is telling you to do.
Again, that's a given. Like looking after your body is a given. You know, trying to preventing injury is a given. You know, it comes with the territory, but being prepared mentally is the goal. You know, you don't being in shape helps you perform in sport, but if you have a strong mindset, you might not be in the best shape, but you can still perform.
Yeah, makes sense.
Know, if you push through. You know, if you have you already saw, like for example, let's say track and field, sprinters and everything else, a certain year, a certain season, a sprinter called Justin Gatlin was in the shape of his life, you know, and Usain Bolt wasn't. And when he got to the finals, it was his race, you know, but started fumbling line. And that's like he's in the shape of his life, but whatever the reason, you know, his mind wasn't there. His mind wasn't where it needed to be, you know, and probably the most important race of his life.
That's definitely one question now I remember about that. It's like when it comes to race day.
Yeah.
Because you already know when it comes to race day, for me, like my mind starts going everywhere. And, you know, sometimes, well, this basically what happened almost every time. Like I always mess up like the first race, or I always mess up somehow. So how do you go about performing at your best, or performing what you can, like, you know, what you've trained for on race day?
So you're talking about not letting the competition get to you?
Yeah, I would say so. But also, because obviously when I'm let's say I'm about to run, there's always that, let's say, certain things in my mind, like, oh, okay, the transition, you know, building up, this and that.
So visualization.
So what should I be thinking? What do you think? What should I be thinking at the start? Like, should I be thinking about that, or should I just be thinking about executing my race?
You should be thinking about putting one foot in front of the other and staying in the moment. There's nothing wrong with visualizing things, but when you're on the start line, it's very easy to say, you know, you shouldn't be thinking about anything. You should just be running, which is, you know, most if you can do that, great, cool. But even the calmest person, I'm pretty sure, is thinking about his first, second, third step. I believe the main thing is staying in the moment as much as possible. You know, even it's a harsh lesson even I learned growing up, as not growing up, competing when I was younger. I would always be focused on results and not the process. You know, I call it outcome thinking. When you know you be training so hard, it's race day now. You know, what times am I gonna run? How fast am I gonna run? Am I gonna beat these people? You know, is no good for performance-based mindset. You know, instead of focusing on the outcome, on the times, on the score, whatever you want, focus on staying in the moment and actually, you know, on the actual process, you know, of getting to the result that you want.
Yeah.
You know, setting yourself up for success rather than just thinking about success.
That makes sense, bro. Love for that.
You know, I'll try and get some other people on now because I'm very aware of the time.
Oh yeah, damn! I said 8 o'clock, you know.
But yeah, I will see you soon. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I see you Monday, hopefully. Yeah.
Cool.
Alright, safe. Take care, man.
I'm gonna answer some of the questions in the comments section actually that Ollie was saying. Oh yeah, so to add to what we were talking about, someone was saying, for me, I'm guessing you're talking about one of the points, one of the key points for younger athletes coming up. Always be curious, and not just in the sport. Ask questions and seek as much information as you can to continually improve. Improvement is the big thing. Success and results come from improvement. Just like what we're talking about. Yes, definitely focusing on the process, enjoying the process, working hard in the process, and results are the outcome from that. Also, another one from Ollie: when are we seeing you back on the track and the rugby field? You know what? On the track, I'm actually looking to probably compete next season. Still need to get my weight down a little bit, and get in a little bit better shape and be more consistent. But I'm looking to start, you know, racing again from next season, which starts September, October time, and hopefully racing by December or January. But we'll see. And the rugby field, I do want to get back into rugby union before I go back into sevens. And the season for rugby union is the off season, pre-season, whatever you want to call it, is happening right now. So I think I want to focus mainly on just maintaining and improving the shape that I have right now, and focusing on making the move back to London as stressful, as least stressful as possible, and then I'll probably find a team in London to join before I step back on the rugby field. But it is in the works, so we'll see. No pressure. I'm just working with life. I'm just working with, if the time comes, the time comes. If not, it's fine. So yeah. Oh, yeah. Not much time. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to join quickly, let's get into it. But I will actually read out some of the questions that I've got via DM and everything else. Let me see. So, what are some of the biggest and hardest lessons learned as an athlete and as an individual? So I had a little think about this earlier, and I think as an athlete, and I covered it a little bit. As an athlete, I think the main issue that I personally stumbled across was the mental side of things. So I guess overcoming, first realizing where the problems were with my performance, and overcoming them and understanding what it was that was happening, doing research, doing work on myself, and really understanding the mental side of competitive sport and life in general. That is probably the biggest one as an athlete. As I said, I believe sport and life in general is 100% mental. Mind controls the body, and for me specifically as well, it wasn't the physical, it was the mental that needed work. So that was probably the biggest lesson learned, from an athlete standpoint, and as an individual standpoint, whether it's relevant or not. I think the biggest thing, probably, maybe because it's relevant to my life right now and what I want to do in the near future and achieve in the near future, is the right thing to do is always the right thing to do, and that goes through everything in life, everything. Not to get too deep, but whatever that statement means to you, go with it. The right thing to do is always the right thing to do. There's right ways to go around things, and there's wrong ways, and there's always a choice. So yeah, make the right one. My live is telling me that I have 1 minute and 20 seconds left, but I am enjoying this. I hope you are too. So if you would like me to continue for a little bit, then let me know right now, and I'll jump off this live and then start another one. So yeah, let me know. I've got 1 minute left. I've got a few more questions to answer. I can get a few more people in actually as well. So let me know if you want me to continue for a little bit, and we'll get that done. I'm getting 2 thumbs up already. Continue. 7 people on here. Come on, let me know. 3. That's 3 out of 7. That is 4. We've got 30 seconds left. Come on. You just having me playing in the background and not actually watching the other few people. Okay, so I have 4. There's 10 seconds remaining. So what I'm gonna do, come out of this, and then I'll jump back on for a little bit. If you have. Yes, we're back. Yes. Jump in the live. Jump. Okay. People are starting to come back in now. Hello. It's been a while. How you doing? Okay, cool. All right, I'm just gonna get back into it. So I've answered one. I've got a few more. So yeah, I've answered pretty much some of them already. So yeah, thoughts on a plant-based diet. So I think first and foremost it's amazing. Personally for me, I'm omnivore, meaning I eat plants and animals combined. I think most people do, but obviously there's been a massive, boom in becoming vegan and plant-based products, which is great. If it gets people eating more plants and vegetables, then so be it. It's all good. Whatever floats your boat. I think, can someone survive on a plant-based diet? Of course, as long as you're getting enough nutrients with that, and as long as it's supporting your lifestyle positively, so be it. That's great for you. My personal view, again, as I said, is great, but I'm an omnivore. I use facts and everything else to base why I eat that way. I think a balanced whole food diet is the way forward. If you look at our closest animal ancestor, who we share, I think 98 or 99% DNA with, which is an ape. They're omnivores. Most of their diet is plant-based, which is great. But they do eat meat too. So yeah, we have the capacity to eat meat, to eat plants. But if you're eating just plants for an ethical reason, I think that's great as well. I do feel that the farming industry and how we treat animals in general needs a big shift, because ultimately, if the animal isn't happy, and you're consuming an unhappy animal, how do you pronounce it? Physiologically, it will. Well, there's been studies to show that with chickens and eggs and everything else, that if the animal is being kept in terrible conditions, those emotions and psychological and physiological treatment transfers over to you via DNA and everything else. So if you're eating bad food, ultimately you'll feel bad, whether it be whole food or not. But as I said, it's a great thing. If it supports your lifestyle as an athlete or as an individual, great, cool. By all means, do it. So yeah, moving on. One from So what is your professional goal, sporting and business? For me, like when growing up and everything else, all I wanted to be was an athlete. I pursued it. I'm still pursuing it, but pursued it my whole life. There isn't that pressure there that I felt growing up, because all I wanted to do was that. Time has gone on. I've grown, and I have other goals. So even regardless of whether I do go back to competitive sport or not, great. There's no pressure there for me. I'll still pursue it. Whether it works out, great. Whether not, I'm still doing what I love. So my professional goal is sporting. To be honest, as I said, there's not that pressure there. So for me, is to keep my well-being mentally and physically as high as possible. You know, get back into shape, get to a level where, you know, I can actually make a decision to actually compete again or not. I feel is a big thing, you know, to be in a great space mentally and physically in order to make that decision to, you know, to pursue, because it's a lot. You know, you dedicate a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it can be stressful. So yeah, to maintain a good balance of energy, mentally and physically, right now anyway, and then I can make that decision whether I want to go dive deeper into it or not. And from a business standpoint, obviously, quite limited in terms of location right now, considering my business is based in London. So yeah, once I do move back, then I can start, you know, training athletes and people full time. I can start running, you know, these training camps for the general public and performance camps for athletes. I can get that up and running. There is a lot more I want to do with Tribe, as you will see, but you know, I kind of want to dedicate the whole business in general to just the training and performance side of things, you know, so people actually know us for that, and then I can expand. So yeah, I'm keen to get people back to get people in the live. I've got 2 questions. 2 questions. I'm gonna try and get the person who asked the questions on the live. Actually, let's get him on. Hopefully, you're in a suitable location to come on the live. But yeah, if you do have any other questions, post them up. Come live. See if I can get through some other questions. Okay.
Yo,
Yes.
yo.
How you doing?
Okay.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. What are you telling me?
I'm alright.
Yeah,
Just
man.
spilling my truths and my lives.
Yeah, man. I feel that, bro. I have to just jump on, fam, because what you're saying, like, I just had to, like, jump on and
It's
listen
irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So what were your questions?
Alright, cool. I had 2 questions. One of them was, like, in terms of your coaching, yeah? How are you going to expand it in terms of, like, throughout, like, London? Because I know that you're based one specific area at the moment.
I live in Chelmsford, in Essex, right now, but I'll be moving back to London. So yeah, I'll be based. The business is based in London now, regardless of where I live.
So regardless, in terms of, like, athletes are willing to, like, train with you.
Yeah.
Like, for example, one athlete lives in another area of London and another one lives in another area.
Yeah.
Like, how could they come to, like, train with you together, especially, like, given a location, maybe, like, time, like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, that's something obviously based on the individual. I think I'm not sure whether I'm going to base myself in. Well, I don't base myself in one location in London anyway. I train my athletes at 2 locations right now. So yeah, once I am in London, I'll have access to the whole of London, and it won't be a whole day trip to get there and do, you know. I'll actually live there, base there, work there. So I don't think traveling or anything else will be too much of a problem, as long as the facility is available.
And in terms of, like, the 2 locations that you train, where's the locations?
Where are the locations?
Yeah.
One is Paddington Recreation Grounds. So the nearest station is Maida Vale Underground Station. That's a good location. It has a lot of football pitches. It has a track. It has the park and everything else. And also I train at Linford Christie Stadium.
And where's that?
That's in it's near White City.
Oh, cool.
Northwest London.
Yeah.
In terms of what location I prefer, Linford Christie 100%. There's a lot of people in Paddington that, you know, they use the track to walk their children. They use the track to walk on all lanes. Yeah, it's not a serious environment to improve your performance, you know. It's quite dangerous as well, especially training athletes that are running at such speed as well. So I do prefer Linford, but there's advantages to Paddington as well.
Free access and that. And, like, I've been there before still, but it's just there was hella like so many people like literally.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like, so it's like you have to like anticipate when you have to run that car at any moment, and someone can just go across your lane. Do you get what I mean? But obviously, the benefit is that it's free tracking it, so it's public, so anyone can go there. But still,
I feel we have a nice balance right now. You know, you have the hustle and bustle of Paddington, and then just the peace of Linford, you know, to get work done. So yeah, you have any more questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna say like in terms of like sprinters. Yeah, I know you're sprinting it. So who's your favorite sprinter in terms of like all time or like even all time? Okay, your top three.
All time favorite sprinter.
Okay, three. Your top three. Your top three. Yeah, top three. You say like, yeah, these guys are like. Tell of like.
My first hero, or you know, some athlete that I looked up to in terms of sprinters, was probably Asafa Power. Just purely based on like the technique is flawless, you know, and he was on top at that time as well. So you know, I think obviously growing up and being an influential age, you know, you immediately look to whoever's on top, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
So Asafa was on top, and for good reason as well. I think probably the ultimate would probably be, because I can relate to him most, is probably Maurice Green.
I knew you were gonna say he's one of my favorites as well, man. I knew you were gonna say him as well.
I mean, based on like body type and how he runs and whatever else that I can relate a lot to. The third one, I don't want to be cliche and say Bolt.
Okay, the top three besides Bolt. That will make
top three besides Bolt.
Like he's like on a different level, isn't it? Like the top three, like excluding Bolt. Obviously, everyone will say Bolt in it, like, do you know what I mean? But you got to change it up.
Yeah, like, I think that's a tough one. It's funny how there's no GB sprinters here as well.
But soon, innit? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I would probably have to say, man, it just came probably like Johan
Blake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, he's kind of gone off the map now, but just like
never know though. Like, what was that like? Obviously, he's had a serious injury, but like, especially when you grind, you never know what can happen in the end. Like, all of this.
That's
it. I mean, always end up. Like, obviously, you have your highs and you have obviously your lows and that, but it's all about you continuing to push. Do you know what I mean? And you never know, you can reach that level again. You get what I mean? Like, looking for example, like Gatlin and stuff. I know, like he's done like certain things which is not right, but he's still he's still pushing and he's still like performing at that high level.
You move on and do the best of what you can in whatever environment or stage of life you're at. You know, whether you can respect it, you know, that's a different story. But who knows? But do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I got a couple. I got a few. You know, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna ask you a couple, like 2 questions. Like, in terms of, like, I was gonna say in terms of like, for example, if you're an athlete and you receive like, obviously you get like a little. Obviously, have you been like seriously injured before?
Have I been seriously injured?
Yeah.
I don't think you joined the talk like early enough. But yeah, the reason I'm not competing competitively right now is because I got injured. To be specific, I was deadlifting. I was deadlifting and I felt like a massive pull, like when I was at 20, like a few years ago now. Hence why I've dedicated myself to coaching and everything. And I got an MRI probably a year ago, maybe now. And it turns out I had a disc bulge in my lower back. So this bulge is like sort of where you have like fluid in between your joints in your spine, and it kind of pushed one of the fluid sacs in between out a little bit. If I'm lucky, it's a bulge and not a herniation. A herniation is where that sac of fluid like basically explodes. But you know, I'm glad my body was strong enough not to go all the way into a herniation, and I can manage the injury all right now. But yeah, what were you gonna ask anyway?
Yeah, because in terms of like mentally, how do you like? Obviously, right now, like I've been training like hard consistently.
Yeah.
And obviously, like last week, had a little sort of like felt a little sharp pain behind my legs. So I've just been resting, literally, just been resting the whole week in it.
Where, in your hamstring?
Yeah, like literally behind, yeah, like just the bottom of my hamstring. But I was running, but I felt like a sharp. It felt like a cramp. You see when you feel a cramp, like
yeah.
But it was like that, but I could still feel it for like a few days. So I was thinking, like, in terms of like mentally, how do you overcome that, and what is the best thing to do? Like, obviously, I've been doing my research and I've been, you know what I mean, taking care of myself. But like, in terms of like, you know what I mean, how to better yourself, what do you do?
I was having to think about this earlier, and I think the main thing, as soon as you feel any significant injury, is to find out what it is. Find out what it is specifically. Like if you know your stuff and you're able to like research and understand, okay, I've been through this before, I know what it is. Unless you've experienced it before, or you know your body well, and you know the anatomy of the body well, and you can kind of understand or guess what's wrong. Find out what it is specifically. If you have to go, the first source of information would be a physio. Yeah, and if you need a physio, let me know.
100%.
Yeah, so go see a physio. They'll do some work, figure out what it is, what it might be. If they can't help you to the maximum, they refer you to someone else that can. But the first base should be physio. If it is serious, most things you can kind of work through yourself by doing research and homework. But if it is serious and it is like hanging around and you're not being able to train properly, go see someone about it as soon as possible. In terms of like being mentally helping your mental side more than your physical. It's a relief to know what's wrong. You know, so you can actually work around it and do other things rather than just like, oh, I'll train when I feel like I'm good, and you know, just stop a little bit. Like find out what it is ASAP.
Obviously, it don't feel that bad, innit? It's just like I need to just rest. Like, I feel like you need to know when your body needs rest, innit? Like, you get what I mean? So I just feel like I need to basically rest because I've been training quite hard and I don't give myself significant time to rest in it. And I was gonna ask you another question in terms of like, when you rest, like how much do you like take time off to just let the body relax? Like even though like but sometimes obviously even though when you finish a training session you come home relax, but is there days specifically when you be like, I might not train for the day, or I might just do something extremely light? Like what do you think?
So you know, for my training schedule right now, because obviously most people will have to balance work and training, and they don't mix that well. So finding that right balance is crucial. So I would advise to write down what you do for training. So like Monday to Sunday, write down everything you do for training Monday to Sunday. If you work too, write down the days you work for how long and whatever else. So for me, on my schedule now, for example, I'll have days where, you know, if I travel down to London, then I'll dedicate basically the first half of my day to training, and I'll train hard, you know, make the most of it, and then I can focus on work and business in the evening, and then on the days in between, pretty much my whole day is work. So the Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be my big main sessions where I'll do my my sprinting, my running, my conditioning, whatever you want to call it, and my strength work and power work and whatever else, and core and everything else. And then the days in between will be active recovery.
Okay.
So when I'm working, so when I have days where I'm just working, so like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, those days will be active recovery. Where I'm still moving, I'm still doing stuff, but at the same time, my body is taking time to recover. You know, I always tell my athletes anyway that you need to recover, you need to rest, recover. You know, go to physio, do what you need to do, just as hard as you train.
Definitely.
Just as hard.
100%.
You know, you can beat your body as hard as you want for as long as you want, but there will come a time where you're like, damn, like I need to rest type of thing. And by then, you know, like it might be too late. Like the next week has started and you need to train again. And so yeah, if you have time, if you have trouble sleeping, take naps. But I think sleep is majorly underestimated.
100%.
In terms of recovery. So, you know, like make that decision. Like if you have to wake up early for training the next morning, you know, put the phone down, just sleep, you know.
Have a little nap, mate. Have a little nap.
That's it.
It's true.
But yeah, I'm going to get someone else in or answer a few more questions, but I'll see you soon. Message me and we'll talk.
I'll shout you in a bit, man.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Love.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap it up a little bit. I'll answer one more question, I think, which is an interesting one. And it relates to business and everything else. So yeah, how is coaching and personal training evolved over time? I'm guessing the time I have been coaching and whatever else. And how has that influenced your creating? How has that influenced creating Tribe and everything you're trying to create with Tribe? From when I started coaching and everything else, probably how has it evolved? I think there's definitely good and there's definitely bad. I feel, you know, in terms of personal training, there's a lot of fads, there's a lot of trends, there's a lot of, you know, get results quick type of things. I'm kind of a no BS type of guy. So it has evolved. In terms of coaching, you know, there's, you know, you have limitless amounts of information now, but, you know, solely down to like social media and YouTube and everything else. I guess it's just filtering out the bullshit. But yeah, there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad. It definitely has evolved. But, you know, for the good, I feel, you know, if you can seek out good information, then I think that's a big benefit. I think how the fitness and performance industry has evolved, in terms of like what I'm trying to create with Tribe, I don't think how the industry has evolved relates to what I'm trying to do with Tribe. I feel, you know, the influx of all this information has been great in terms of my development, my business development, my coaching development, and everything is obviously virtual now. Everything's online, which is you know, which is good and bad. But yeah, the only influence I feel is obviously everything's going online now, and I will definitely in the near future anyway, we'll be looking to you know, take full advantage of the online and get my stuff out there and, you know, be able to help more people. But yeah, I think the biggest, to finish it up though, I think the biggest thing that has influenced, you know, me, what I'm trying to create with Tribe is my life. You know, I've played sport pretty much all of my life. Helped people reach their goals. You know, I know a ton of people that's relevant to the brand, to Tribe, and everything else, whether it be physios, coaches, athletes, whatever else. And the whole thing to do with the name, with the whole goal behind Tribe, is to bring everyone, all my knowledge, all the people I know, all of their knowledge, bring them all together and create something great with Tribe. It's a very vague answer, but as Tribe develops, I'm sure you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, thank you very much for joining. I'm sure, I'm hope anyway, it's been beneficial for you. But yeah, thank you for joining. I'll post this full talk up in the next coming weeks. For those that don't know, this is the end of season 1. I've done 10 episodes with 9 people, 10 people, including myself. So yeah, all of these full talks will be on Tribe TV, which is on YouTube. But yeah, thank you for listening to season 1. I'll be taking little snippets of this talk, that talk, all of the talks, posting it on my Insta, and all the full talks will be on YouTube, so you haven't missed anything. But yeah, season 2 is in the works. I already have a few people in the works that I'm going to be talking to in season 2 anyway, which is exciting. But yeah, thank you for watching season 1. And yeah, hopefully see you for season 2. Thank you.